One night I was sitting in the office alone. My co-worker had gone out to get some food and visit a friend. I was on the overnight shift. About midnight, one of the residents came rushing into the office out of breath. She told me there was trouble on the second floor and I should come right away. I grabbed my phone and ran upstairs. When I got to the second floor, I was confronted with a whole group of residents standing around a very large man in a black leather jacket. The man had Angela pinned against the wall. She was wearing only a ski jacket. I stepped in and asked him what the problem was. He told me that Angela had stolen $200 off of him with the help of another girl. The other girl was Michelle, who was standing and trembling against the wall. I asked the girls if they had taken his money and they denied it. The other residents said this guy just didn't want to pay them what he owed them. He insisted Angela had the money in her jacket. I asked one of the residents to go get Angela a blanket while I took her jacket and searched it. While I was rifling through it, I signaled Michelle to call the police and handed her the phone, pretending it was in my way while I emptied the pockets of the jacket. There was no money. I went back to the man and held the jacket out to him. I told him there was no money in it. He could check himself. He looked at me and opened his jacket. He removed a huge 10-inch hunting knife from his sheath and held it to my gut, then slowly raised it to my throat. "Well, you better find me $200 or someone's going to get cut," he said. I tried to tell him that if he lost money, it would be returned to him, but that no one in this hotel was going to have that kind of money. He pressed the knife until it dented the flesh in my neck and said I better figure out a way to get $200 in a hurry because he wasn't leaving until he had the money or somebody was bleeding badly. The residents standing around started rustling through their pockets and throwing money on the floor at my feet. A lot of change fell on the floor and a few small bills. No one at the Portland had any kind of money. Michelle said she'd go get one dealer who might have that kind of cash. I knew the residents could never collect that kind of money, but I was grateful they were at least buying me time. The huge man shifted the money around with his foot, counting it without ever letting the knife off my neck. Michelle returned with $50 and threw it on the floor. There was about $70 on the floor at this point, and I begged the man to take it and leave the hotel. I suspected he came in with nothing. $70 was pretty enticing to most people on the east side. While he was mulling it over and apparently waiting for more money to show up, the police showed up with their guns drawn. It was over. The man put his knife back in its sheath and let go of me. I called Angela and Michelle to come with me to the office. I knew the police would want statements from them. We waited. Michelle was a wreck, sobbing and crying and saying over and over that she didn't do anything wrong. Angela was a bit more guilty, but she insisted she had only taken $50, which was the $50 Michelle threw on the floor, which was payment they were both supposed to get from the man. When the man was finally brought downstairs, he was in handcuffs. The police stopped in front of the office to ask which girls were Angela and Michelle. They asked the man to point them out. He pointed from behind his back with his hands at his hips. Her, and him, he said, pointing to me last. And then, under his breath, he added, "You're all dead." The police warned him about making threats and led him away. Michelle was crying again. "He's a black angel," she said. Over the ensuing weeks, I learned that the term black angel was what the residents of the East Side used to describe men associated with a man named Willie Pickton. Everyone down there seemed to know that any woman who went away with Willie Pickton never returned, to the extent that they believed he sent other men to collect women to take back to his pig farm. Willie Pickton had not been charged at the time of this event. I told the police about the claim the residents made about the man in the black jacket and asked them about Willie Pickton. They dismissed both accusations as being the products of drugged-out, demented minds. Within a month, both Michelle and Angela had gone missing. A couple of weeks later, I left the hotel to get some food, and a woman I knew whistled at me and pointed. I looked up and saw the black angel walking towards me on Hastings Street. I turned and headed back to the hotel, locked the security cage, and called the police. From that point on, I became increasingly concerned for my own safety. Eventually, I had a breakdown. While I was in the hospital recovering, the police arrested Willie Pickton, and the province newspaper printed the pictures of the 28 women he was suspected of killing, butchering, and possibly feeding to his pigs. Among the pictures, I found Michelle and Angela. Sure enough, both women's DNA have shown up on Willie's farm, and they are among the women he's accused of murdering. When I got out of the hospital, I was released from my job at the Portland Hotel and evicted from my home. My girlfriend broke up with me. She didn't want to date a crazy person. I moved downtown into the area I'd been working in and took a job mucking stalls. As it turned out, I needed several years of cleaning out shit before I could start to get on with my life. Willie Pickton is on trial now and will likely be put away for life. But Willie Pickton is not the problem. I'd be willing to bet he was abused and abandoned himself in some way. He's just one piece of shit in a system full of it. Tomorrow this stall will be full of shit again. I've spent years cleaning shit and the world is no better off. Now the Olympics are coming and people are wondering how to hide the shit while the money pours in from all over the world. They'll find some way to throw fresh shavings on top of the old shit to make it look fresh and clean, but the shit won't stop coming until it's fixed at the source. I wonder what would happen if the energy and devotion it took to get the Olympics here, or if the money it takes to keep these horses so fit and well, was put towards our most abused citizens. I believe we have the means to save these people's lives. I wish we had the will. The irony doesn't escape me.